There comes a time in everyone's life when exhaustion feels heavier than ambition, when the road ahead seems endless and the strength to move forward feels like it's slipping away. It's in those moments that we are tempted to give up, to walk away from what we once dreamed of. But here is a truth that life whispers gently to the tired soul: you're not meant to quit. You're meant to rest. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. The strongest trees shed their leaves not because they're dying, but because they're preparing for new growth. Likewise, when life feels too heavy, it's not defeat to pause, it's preparation for renewal. So many of us confuse stopping with quitting. Stopping for a while to breathe, to heal, to regain clarity, that's not quitting. Quitting means giving up on your purpose, but resting means protecting it. The pause gives you power. It allows your mind to think clearly and your heart to remember why you began. Even the sun sets each day not to disappear, but to rise again in greater glory. Why then do we fear taking a break? Why do we think that pausing makes us less committed? Resting is not stepping back from life, it's stepping back into yourself. It's the moment when you realign your energy with your vision. Remember, consistency is not about running fast, but about continuing to walk, even when the pace slows down. Every mountain climber knows this truth. Those who reach the top are not the ones who never stopped. They are the ones who paused to catch their breath and then kept climbing. If you are weary today, don't mistake your fatigue for failure. Sometimes your soul just needs silence. Your mind needs stillness, and your heart needs reassurance. Allow yourself to rest. Don't run from the journey because it got hard. Rest so you can return stronger. Life doesn't reward those who rush. It rewards those who endure. The journey of purpose is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You will face moments of weariness, but let them remind you that you're still in the race. Resting is the art of self-preservation in the pursuit of greatness. So, when you feel tired, take a deep breath, sit in stillness, recharge your spirit. Remind yourself why you began and who you're becoming. Rest is your reset, not your retirement. Resting is not quitting. It's recharging. There's a profound difference between the two. Though many people blur the line when life starts to weigh heavy on their shoulders. When you rest, you are not surrendering your dream. You are simply refueling your spirit so you can carry it forward with renewed energy. The world often glorifies hustle, persistence, and non-stop effort, as if slowing down means losing momentum. But true wisdom lies in understanding that even the most powerful engines need to stop for maintenance. And even the brightest stars fade momentarily before they shine again. Think of a marathon runner. No matter how determined or fit they are, there comes a point when their body demands a pause, a few deep breaths, a sip of water, a moment to gather strength. That pause doesn't erase the distance they've already covered, nor does it mean they've given up on the finish line. It simply ensures that they can continue running with purpose. The same applies to life. When you take a moment to rest, you are not losing progress. You are preserving your power to continue. The problem is, many people see resting as a sign of weakness. They think, if I stop now, I'll fall behind, or if I take a break, people will think I'm not serious. But the truth is, burnout is far worse than any delay. A tired body can still move for a while, but a tired soul collapses silently. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot fight your battles with a broken spirit. Rest is the gentle reminder that you are human, not a machine. It teaches you that growth doesn't happen in constant motion. It happens in balance. When you rest, you allow reflection to take place. You give yourself space to understand where you are and where you're going. Sometimes, in the rush to keep moving, we lose sight of why we started in the first place. Resting clears the fog. It's in the still moments that your purpose whispers back to you, reminding you of your direction. It's in the silence that new ideas are born, new courage is gathered, and old wounds begin to heal. Resting is an act of self-respect. It's telling yourself that you matter as much as your goals do. It's choosing to care for your body, your mind, and your emotions, because you know that these are the vehicles through which your dreams will be achieved. You can't chase your destiny if your energy is broken, and you can't inspire others if you're running on emptiness. So when exhaustion knocks on your door, don't label it as failure. Recognize it as life's way of saying, pause, not stop. Sit quietly. Breathe deeply and let your soul catch up with your pace. Rest doesn't take you backward. It positions you to leap forward with clarity and strength. Remember, even the sun must set to rise again with greater brilliance. Likewise, your moments of rest are not endings, they are the beginning of renewal. You are not quitting when you rest. You are preparing for your next victory. The strongest people know when to stop and breathe. Strength is not just about endurance or how long you can keep going. It's about knowing when to pause, when to gather yourself, and when to allow your spirit to recover. Many people misunderstand what it truly means to be strong. They associate strength with never stopping, never showing emotion, and never needing rest. But real strength is much deeper. It's the quiet wisdom to recognize your limits and honor them before you break. In life, we often admire those who keep pushing through challenges, who appear unshaken by pain or exhaustion. We call them strong. But the truth is, even they have moments when they must stop, breathe, and find their center again. The strongest trees don't resist the wind all the time. They bend when they must, so they don't break. Likewise, strong people know that resilience doesn't come from denial of tiredness. It comes from managing it with grace. Stopping to breathe is not an act of surrender, it's an act of mastery. It takes immense courage to admit that you need a moment to slow down. It's easy to keep running on adrenaline, chasing goals, and pretending you're fine, But it takes wisdom to pause and say, I need a moment to rest. This pause isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's knowing that your energy is your greatest resource, and if you don't protect it, you lose not just your momentum, but your joy as well. In a world that constantly demands productivity and speed, stopping to breathe can feel like rebellion. Everyone seems to be in a race, racing to succeed, to prove themselves, to keep up with others. But when you stop to breathe, you step out of the race and reconnect with your purpose. You realize that life isn't about how fast you go, but how deeply you live. Breathing helps you return to the present moment, where peace exists, not in the past that drains you or the future that pressures you, but right here, in the now. The greatest athletes, the most successful leaders, and the most peaceful souls all have one thing in common: they understand the power of the pause. They know that every inhale and exhale grounds them, every moment of stillness sharpens their focus. Just as a bow must be drawn backward before launching the arrow forward, we too must retreat for a moment to regain our direction. When you take time to breathe, you give your body rest and your mind clarity. You let go of tension, anxiety, and noise, and in that silence, you find strength that rushing could never give you. Sometimes, we feel guilty for slowing down, as if rest means we're falling behind. But the truth is, those who pause often move ahead with greater wisdom and energy. They make better decisions, they see clearer paths, and they act from peace, not panic. The breath is the bridge between chaos and calm, between losing control and regaining balance. So, when life feels overwhelming, remember that the strength you admire in others often hides moments of quiet breath, moments of stillness, moments when they simply stop to collect themselves. True strength doesn't roar, it whispers in the stillness, I will rise again. To stop and breathe is to respect the rhythm of your soul. It's to remind yourself that the goal is not to never get tired, but to never stay exhausted. Because every time you pause and breathe, you're not stepping back, you're preparing to move forward with power, clarity, and calm. Quitting ends your story, resting strengthens your next chapter. Every journey has moments when the weight of the path feels unbearable, when your dreams seem too far away, your strength feels too thin, and your heart whispers, maybe it's time to give up. But that whisper is not a call to quit. It's an invitation to rest. The difference between those who fail and those who rise lies not in who never got tired, but in who learned to pause without letting go of their purpose. When you quit, you close the book on possibilities. You stop writing your story just because one chapter got difficult. But when you rest, you simply place a bookmark, a pause before continuing the narrative. Quitting silences your potential, while resting gives you space to rediscover it. It's during rest that clarity returns, strength rebuilds, and hope starts breathing again. The chapters of our lives that define us are rarely written in moments of ease, in the They are written after the breaks, after the pauses, when we decide to return stronger than before. If every person chasing something meaningful will face exhaustion, emotional, mental, or physical, the temptation to quit often arises, not because the goal isn't worth it, but because fatigue clouds our vision. When you're tired, your mind amplifies doubt and your heart forgets your why. That's when resting becomes essential. It gives you a chance to silence the chaos inside and reconnect with the reason you started. Resting doesn't delay your success, it protects it. Think about nature. The seed that stops growing in winter doesn't die, it rests in stillness, gathering the energy to bloom again when spring arrives. The same principle applies to us. Resting is not a step backward, it's part of the natural rhythm of progress. You need moments of quiet to refocus, moments of stillness to regain balance, and moments of reflection to realign your goals with your heart. The beauty of resting lies in its power to renew perspective. When you pause, you allow time to work on your behalf. What once felt like a dead end can start to look like a detour leading to something better. You might realize that what you thought was failure was actually preparation. Resting gives your mind space to think creatively and your spirit room to heal. It transforms frustration into understanding and weariness into wisdom. Many great achievers in history didn't reach their dreams because they never stopped. They reached them because they knew when to stop. They knew that burnout kills creativity and that the fire inside needs oxygen, not pressure, to keep burning. Resting is that oxygen. It's the sacred pause that revives your purpose and reminds you that your dream still matters. When you quit, the story ends with regret. But when you rest, you give your story the power to continue stronger, wiser, and deeper. Life doesn't demand constant motion, it demands consistent faith. Resting doesn't mean you're done. It means you're investing in your next chapter. It means you trust that your purpose is still alive, waiting patiently for you to return to it with a renewed spirit. So, when you feel the urge to give up, choose to rest instead. Lay down your worries, breathe, and let your soul recover. Because the pause you take today may be the very reason you find the strength to finish tomorrow. Quitting closes your story, but resting gives it the power to continue beautifully. Even nature rests. The sun sets every evening, not because it has lost its light, but because it's preparing to rise again in greater brilliance. The moon fades and returns. The tides ebb and flow, and the seasons change with gentle rhythm. Everything in creation understands the necessity of rest. Everything except the human heart that often refuses to pause. We live in a world that glorifies constant motion, where stopping feels like failure and rest feels like laziness. Yet if the universe itself rests and renews, why do we think we can live without that same rhythm? Look at the trees. They shed their leaves in autumn, not because they are dying, but because they're making space for new growth in spring. Their stillness in winter is not weakness, its wisdom. Nature teaches us that rest is a sacred part of growth. Nothing blooms all year long, and nothing flourishes without moments of stillness. The earth itself takes time to breathe, to heal, and to prepare for new life. If we are part of that same creation, then rest is not an interruption in our progress, it's part of it. When you pause and allow yourself to rest, you are aligning with the same rhythm that governs the stars, the waves, and the seasons. It's not a break from productivity, it's the foundation of it. Just as soil needs time to recover before producing another harvest, your mind and spirit need space to restore their strength. The more you push without pause, the more you drain your energy and dull your creativity. Rest doesn't take you away from your purpose. It brings you closer to it because it clears the noise that hides your inner clarity. We often think that the more we do, the more we achieve, but nature whispers the opposite truth. The more we balance doing and resting, the more we flourish. When the rain stops, the ground soaks in its nourishment. When the night falls, the world prepares for dawn. There's a divine order in these pauses, a reminder that even beauty needs silence to grow. Likewise, your soul needs rest to regain its rhythm, and your purpose needs stillness to expand. Resting doesn't mean you've stopped caring about your dreams. It means you're protecting your ability to pursue them. Just as a farmer doesn't plant every day, but trusts in the process of waiting, you too must trust the power of pauses. Growth often happens quietly beneath the surface. When nothing seems to be moving, the roots deepen when the branches are still. In the same way, your strength deepens when you allow yourself to be still. Imagine if the sun never set, there would be no night, no rest, no balance. The world would burn with constant heat and life would wither. The darkness between the light is what keeps creation alive. That's the lesson nature gives us daily. That rest is not the end of light, but the promise of its return. You too need those moments of darkness, moments to recover, reflect, and recharge. So, when you feel guilty for taking a break, look around you. The mountains stand tall not because they never move, but because they endure in patience. The rivers keep flowing because they respect their rhythm. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. Learn from that sacred flow, that even stillness has a purpose. And rest is the secret ingredient that sustains all growth. Rest brings clarity. When life becomes a storm of deadlines, responsibilities, and endless noise, our thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. We try to keep moving, believing that if we just push a little harder, everything will fall into place. But the truth is, constant motion blurs our vision. It's in stillness, in rest, that we finally begin to see clearly again. Clarity doesn't come from rushing. It comes from pausing long enough to let your heart and mind realign. When we're exhausted, our emotions take control. We start making decisions from frustration instead of wisdom, from fear instead of faith. The more we try to fix things in a tired state, the more tangled they become. Rest is that sacred pause that allows the dust to settle so we can see the path again. Just like muddy water clears when it's left undisturbed, our minds regain focus when we allow them to rest. The chaos outside begins to quiet down, and the voice within, the one that truly knows what we need, starts to speak again. Clarity doesn't mean you'll have all the answers. It means you'll have the right perspective. Sometimes, when you're in the middle of struggle, everything looks bigger and heavier than it is. Fatigue magnifies problems, but rest reduces them to their true size. When you give yourself time to breathe and reflect, you realize that not every mountain in front of you needs to be climbed today. Some can wait. Some may even disappear once you see things from a clearer angle. Resting allows your intuition to surface. That quiet wisdom buried under layers of stress and worry. When you slow down, you start noticing things you missed before, the small opportunities, the hidden blessings, the lessons disguised as setbacks. You begin to understand that what you thought was a dead end might actually be a redirection. Clarity often hides behind stillness. The more peaceful your mind becomes, the louder your purpose speaks. In our fast-paced world, rest has become rare. We fill every silence with sound, every pause with distraction, and every quiet moment with noise. Yet, in doing so, we lose connection with ourselves. Resting doesn't just recharge the body, it reconnects the soul. It helps us remember who we are beyond our achievements, beyond our to-do lists, beyond our roles. It's in the moments of rest that we hear the whispers of our true desires, the guidance of our inner wisdom, and the strength to keep moving in the right direction. Think of how a traveler navigates by stars. They can only be seen when the night is still. The same is true for clarity. You can only see your guiding light when you allow darkness and silence to settle around you. The busier you are, the harder it is to recognize where you're heading. But once you rest, the map of your life begins to unfold naturally. Rest brings you back to yourself. It reminds you that progress isn't just about moving forward. It's also about moving aright. Sometimes, you need to stop long enough to realize that you've been climbing the wrong mountain or chasing something that doesn't fulfill you. That realization doesn't come in the rush, it comes in the rest. So, when confusion clouds your vision and weariness dulls your spirit, don't force yourself to move faster. Instead, slow down, breathe deeply, let stillness do its quiet work. Because clarity isn't found in chaos, it's born in calm. And when your mind rests, your purpose shines again, clearer and brighter than ever. Fatigue is not failure. It's one of the most misunderstood truths of growth. The belief that being tired means you are weak, unmotivated, or incapable. But in reality, fatigue is often the clearest sign that you've been giving your best. It's the natural result of pouring your hard time and energy into something meaningful. Feeling tired doesn't mean you've lost. It means you've been trying And that effort itself is proof of strength. So many people mistake exhaustion for defeat. They think that because they're drained, they're done. But being tired and being finished are two very different things. You can be weary and still be winning. You can feel empty today and still be on the path toward greatness. Every dream demands energy. Every purpose requires persistence. Fatigue is simply a reminder that you've reached a point where rest is needed, not that your purpose has expired. Think of it like a candle. When the flame flickers low, it doesn't mean the light is gone. It just needs a moment away from the wind. Likewise, when your inner fire starts to dim, you don't throw away the candle. You protect it. You give it space to regain its strength. The same goes for you. Fatigue is your body and mind whispering, "Pause, take care of me," so we can continue this journey together. The truth is, passion comes with a price. Anyone who has ever loved deeply, worked tirelessly, or dreamed boldly has faced moments of exhaustion. Fatigue doesn't visit the lazy. It visits those who dare to care, those who strive, those who give. It's a natural companion of purpose. When you invest your energy into something that matters, you're bound to feel drained at times. But that's not a sign to quit. It's a sign to recharge. Unfortunately, in today's fast-paced world, we wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We equate business with success and burnout with achievement. But constant exhaustion is not strength, it's imbalance. True strength lies in recognizing when to step back before you break down. You don't need to collapse to prove your commitment. You don't have to suffer endlessly to earn success. You simply have to understand that rest is part of resilience. When you allow yourself to rest, you transform fatigue into fuel. The body heals, the mind resets, and the heart remembers why it started. Fatigue is temporary, purpose is not. You might be drained today, but with rest, tomorrow can bring new energy, new hope, and new focus. The difference between those who give up and those who go on isn't that one group never gets tired. It's that one group knows how to rest when they do. There's also a quiet beauty in admitting, "I'm tired." It's honest. It's human. It means you've cared enough to give your all. But what matters most is what you do next. Don't confuse tiredness with hopelessness. Don't let exhaustion convince you that your dream is too big. Instead, honor your effort by taking the break you deserve. Even the mightiest waves retreat before rising again. That's how life works. Ebb and flow, push and pause. Fatigue doesn't define your end. It defines your need for renewal. You are not weak because you need rest. You are wise because you understand that the body, the mind, and the soul must be restored before they can rise again. Fatigue is not failure. It's the doorway to your next strength. The gentle reminder that even the strongest hearts need time to breathe before they beat stronger than ever. Progress requires pauses. In a world obsessed with speed, we often forget that growth doesn't happen in constant motion. We think the only way forward is to keep pushing, keep running, keep achieving. But that's not how true progress works. The truth is, even the greatest journeys need moments of stillness. Pauses are not obstacles in the path of success. They are the very spaces where growth silently takes root. Think of music. Without pauses, there would be no rhythm, no melody, just noise. The silence between notes is what gives the song its beauty. Similarly, in life, the pauses between efforts are what give meaning and direction to our actions. When we stop for a moment, we allow ourselves to reflect on where we've come from and where we're going. Without those pauses, we risk moving fast but moving blind. Progress is not just about constant activity. It's about consistent awareness. Sometimes we're so caught up in doing that we forget why we're doing it. We become machines of motion, not masters of meaning. That's why pausing is essential. It brings back perspective. It helps us realign our purpose and ensures we're still walking the right path, not just running in circles. Pauses are powerful because they give us time to breathe, to rethink, and to refocus. When you take a break, you're not wasting time, you're investing it in clarity. You're giving your mind the chance to process experiences, your emotions the space to heal, and your soul the opportunity to recharge. It's during these quiet pauses that creativity awakens, new ideas form, and solutions emerge that we couldn't see while rushing. Nature teaches us this lesson over and over again. The earth rests in winter so it can bloom in spring. Rivers slow down before they reach the ocean. Even the heart has a pause between each beat, a brief stillness before it pumps life again. Imagine if the heart tried to beat without ever pausing. It would collapse from exhaustion. Likewise, our ambitions need rhythm, moments of movement and moments of rest to remain alive and strong. Many people fear pausing because they associate it with losing momentum. But pausing doesn't mean stopping, it means preparing. It's like the archer who pulls the bowstring back before releasing the arrow. The tension, the silence, the stillness, all of it is part of the shot. Without the pause, the arrow would never fly with force or precision. In the same way, every time you take a pause, you're gathering the energy for your next breakthrough. Pauses also allow gratitude to flow in. When you're always moving, you rarely notice how far you've come. But when you stop and look back, you realize that what you once prayed for is now a part of your reality. That moment of awareness doesn't just bring peace, it fuels motivation. Gratitude gives you the strength to move forward with joy, not pressure. Progress requires pauses because progress is not just external, it's internal too. You might be achieving outwardly, but true growth happens inwardly, in those quiet, reflective moments when you ask yourself, am I growing or just going? The pause gives you that answer. So remember, pausing doesn't slow you down. It strengthens your stride. It doesn't steal your progress, it sustains it. Every pause you take is like the comma in the sentence of your journey. It doesn't end the story, it makes it more powerful. The pause is not the absence of progress, it's the heartbeat of it. Self-care fuels success. It's a truth that so many people overlook while chasing their dreams. That taking care of yourself isn't a distraction from your goals. It's the very thing that sustains them. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and yet so many of us try. We keep giving, working, striving, and pushing, forgetting that our energy, our focus, and our health are the foundations upon which all success is built. When you neglect yourself, even the brightest dreams begin to fade. But when you prioritize self-care, you nurture the strength and clarity needed to turn those dreams into reality. Society often teaches us that self-care is selfish, that rest, reflection, and emotional healing are luxuries reserved for later. But the truth is, they are necessities for now. You cannot chase your purpose while ignoring your well-being. The most successful people aren't those who never stop working. They're the ones who understand balance, who know when to push forward and when to pause, when to speak and when to listen, when to give and when to replenish. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths, vacations, or quiet moments with a book, though those are valuable too. It's about nurturing every part of yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit. It's about listening to your emotions instead of suppressing them. Forgiving yourself when you fall short and allowing yourself to heal when you're hurt. It's about setting healthy boundaries that protect your peace and refusing to let guilt control your need for rest. Without self-care, success becomes hollow. You might reach the top, but you'll be too drained to enjoy the view. What's the point of achieving everything if you lose yourself in the process? True success is not just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become while accomplishing it. And you can only become your best self when you take time to care for yourself along the way. Imagine your life as a garden. Your dreams are the flowers you plant, but self-care is the sunlight, the water, and the nourishment that allow them to grow. Without tending to the soil, your inner world, the flowers can't thrive. No matter how much effort you put into planting them, the garden of your life needs your attention, patience, and kindness. If you neglect it, weeds of stress, fatigue, and doubt will take over. Self-care also builds resilience. When you are emotionally and mentally balanced, you handle challenges more gracefully. Instead of breaking under pressure, you bend and bounce back. Instead of reacting in anger or fear, you respond with calm and clarity. Taking care of yourself strengthens your ability to take care of your goals. It reminds you that you don't have to sacrifice your peace to achieve your purpose. So often, people believe success comes from endless effort. But the truth is, sustainable success comes from steady energy, and steady energy only comes from self-care. When you sleep enough, eat well, move your body, spend time in reflection, and stay connected to what brings you joy, your productivity doesn't just increase. Your creativity expands, your relationships deepen, and your life feels fuller. Self-care is not a reward for success. It's the path to it. It's the daily commitment to choose peace over pressure, balance over burnout, and growth over exhaustion. When you take care of yourself, you don't slow down your journey. You strengthen it. Because every goal you chase, every dream you nurture, and every challenge you overcome depends on the same source, you. And when you are whole, healthy, and recharged, there is nothing you cannot achieve.